Hi, and welcome to the newest episode of the Reclaim podcast. No one is coming to save you. Don't forget, like and subscribe because it's the only way we get to keep doing this.
Hello again.
Hello. We're going to talk today about a question that I've gotten a lot from my audience, and I'm sure you've gotten it too.
Yep.
And the question is, when do you know it's time to let go? And a lot of times I think people come with this question when it comes to romantic relationships, but there's so many places in our life where this becomes a topic. Romantic relationships with friends, jobs.
I was going to say career.
Yeah. And I am sorry to inform everyone out there that I don't have the answer for you.
We have examples.
But there is no one answer.
No.
It really becomes when you decide to listen to your intuition and understand what is happening in this relationship. What am I holding on to? Am I holding on to the idea of it? Am I holding on to the hope that it will get better or it will change?
Am I processing trauma and I'm not aware of it?
Am I the problem?
Am I the problem? Yes.
And sometimes we're the problem.
Yes.
But this became, there was, I was roller skating a couple of weekends ago with my friend Mo, and Mo is this incredible skater who skated her whole life. And I was doing my spins, and I love to do my little spins. And she is a very technical skater. And so one of the things that I really admire about her is her ability to coach me on, because I'm not a technical skater. I'm just going to throw my body into whatever I see you do and try to do it. And she said to me, when your spin gets out of control, you have to know when to exit. And I know we were talking about roller skating, but I'll tell you.
The key to life.
It really hit me. And her point, and she said, you can always come back to it, but you have to exit when it goes out of control and then come back to it when you feel more secure, ready, or your body is ready to come back to it. And I don't think she knew what a huge moment that was for me, because it was so not about the spin at that point.
Right.
And I was thinking about all those times in my life where I have spun out of control, and instead of just pressing the pause, taking a step back and evaluating everything that was happening, I just stayed in the spin.
Yeah.
I just stayed. And I
get so beat up.
So beat up. And that moment where you take that step back, you know, the biggest question I get is, when did you know it was time to leave your marriage? Okay, so this is a very vulnerable moment for me. I had a moment where I thought that if I ended my life, it would be easier than leaving the life I had built. And that thought, that intrusive thought with a 6-month-old baby, made me absolutely petrified that I had come to this conclusion that that would be easier than reclaiming my own life and walking away. And so that was my aha moment, that something was drastically wrong. And I talked to my therapist about it. I blamed postpartum. I blamed all of these things. I upped my medication. I thought there was something wrong with me. Yeah. Not that I was stuck in this toxic spin that I had to get out of. Right. And there was another moment that I was watching a video on Instagram, and I saw this girl, and she had climbed to the top of the mountain, and there was a drone shot of her, and she's just looking up at the sky, and she's just so, you can tell she's happy, and you can tell it's not a fake curated moment. It's a real moment of genuine happiness. And I thought, oh, that's nice. I guess I'll never feel happy again, but at least I have a house and a job and a baby and a husband. And it was like smacking myself across the face in that moment. Like, what do you mean you're never going to feel happy again? Why is that acceptable?
Right.
Why is that okay? It's
You were
not
holding on to that spin.
I was holding
For
on to
dear
that
fucking
spin.
life.
I was not exiting that spin. We're going to
no.
stay and we're going to spin until we're blue in the fucking face, man.
Yeah.
And so those two critical moments that happened pretty close to each other was my big wake up call for me that it was time to exit and reevaluate. Because there was no way that either one of those solutions was better than coming and finding myself and coming to terms with, this is not the right path for you anymore.
Right.
I wanted it to be.
Yeah, we hold on to things that we have shoulded ourselves into, or that, somehow we think we're going to be chastised or abandoned, or, all of those things. We hold on way too long.
And we're taught from a young age that that's what you do.
Oh, never give up.
Never give up.
What are you doing?
If you're Irish, if you're Irish, you're brought up.
That's right.
We do not give up on our relationships, not in our family, not in our marriages. We stick it out until the very end, even if it almost kills you. That's what you do. And so the answer for that very hard question of when do you know it's time to exit, I think the answer comes when your body is physically rejecting the life that you're currently in,
Yeah. And there are many different ways that your body will reject it. Like, there's no one way, which is why it's so important to be in tune with your body.
Right.
Know yourself so well.
Like when you get up to go to that job and you have every Monday morning, you just have dread and anxiety of walking into that building, and you know that that's 8 hours of your day that you're just going to dread the entire time. We forget we have a choice. We think that there's rules to this game of life, and really there is no rules. We've created them. We've created these rules that are completely fake, made up by human beings, and we've just decided that, well, this is the path I'm on, so I have to stay on it because this is the path I chose. Right. And nobody gives us permission to just put a stop to it all and take a right or a left.
And it takes so often coming to those crisis moments like you were talking about, or the universe smacking you upside the fucking head enough times, whether it's an illness or crazy shit happening, in order for us to go, wait a minute, I'm changing how life gets to show up for me, when it doesn't have to get to that point.
Right.
You can just decide that life is going to show up for you differently. And I don't mean that, I know that sounds like, oh yeah, Melissa, but we've literally done it.
Right.
Like, I just made a decision. I drew a line. I don't even say line in the sand. I say line in cement. Like, that line's not moving again.
I like line in cement because once it hardens, we're not going
Done.
back. It's true. And half the time we don't want to admit to ourselves that we're the ones that are keeping ourselves in these horrible scenarios.
Oh, every time. Every time.
It has nothing to do with me. It's my husband or my boyfriend or my partner isn't good and they need to change and they need to do this, or, I can't leave this job. I've invested too much time here and I'm up for a promotion. And no, none of that matters if you decide every day to stay, or you are not actively making a plan to leave. And let's face it, most people are stuck because of finances, right? Financial insecurity, or they haven't had the opportunity to make their own money in a while, so they don't know where to start. But we're in a world right now where there's a will, there is a way. And is it easy? Fuck no.
And there are people who've done it who are willing to help. You can reach out to.
There are.
Yes.
And everybody's scenario is different.
Right.
But if you've come to this point where you're in a spin and you need to exit, when you are in this exiting process, right, that pause, that moment of, as Mo said, you can re-enter. Well, the re-entering doesn't mean that you're going back to the old life.
That's right.
Sometimes you have to stop the spin, step out of it, and start evaluating. Okay, what's my plan? And we were just talking about this where you make a decision that the universe is going to work in your favor.
Yes.
I had no idea what my plan was when I was separating from my husband. I told him that I wanted a divorce with no plan in place. I mean, I had just left my full-time career as a retail store manager with a salary.
Listen, if you're going to burn it down, you burn it all down.
You burn it all down.
The whole thing.
I just didn't realize that you actually can't get a loan for a house if you quit your job. And I'm a realtor, and I kind of forgot about that piece. Because I was still making money. Why can't I get a loan? I've got plenty of money coming in from real estate. Well, yeah, but you haven't done that full time yet. I was like, well, that sucks. Hold on. What am I going to do? The day after I told him that I was leaving, or that I think this is over, my girlfriend messaged me that she wanted to sell her condo. And I said, okay, sell it to me. And she was like, what? I was like, yeah, I'm leaving. And then from there, when I couldn't get the financing, I just kept saying to myself every day, this is my condo. This is my condo.
Yes.
I'm going to get this condo. No matter what, I'm going to get this condo. And I was able to get a portfolio loan last minute. Somebody had mercy on my soul. They knew my story. They wanted to help, and they had seen my work history, and they just knew that I had it in me, and they believed in me enough to, and I'm not saying this is how it works out every time. Banks don't just believe in somebody. I had a good former relationship with this bank, and they gave me a portfolio loan, which is considered a non-QM, non-qualifying mortgage. And I was able to buy this condo, and it was my saving grace.
I have a similar story. Interestingly, I think the power of story is really important. I think the more stories that we share, so people know, like, it does work out. Mm-hmm. But related to a living situation, I had thankfully been able to move out of that 2-bedroom apartment where the kids and I were, but the new place that I was in didn't work out. It's a lot of details that aren't needed, but I now had to find a place for my kids, and I knew for sure I was not going back to living like we were living. It was the line in cement. But my business wasn't making enough income yet. Mm-hmm. My credit was still repairing from a divorce, right? Nothing made sense on paper anywhere, like nothing. The place where I decided that the town that I wanted to be in, anything that came up for rentals was immediately taken. Like, it was just, everything was stacked against me. I kind of like that. I think that's another toxic trait in mine. I like it when everything is like really hard and like there's no net and like you just have to leap. But I remember I was meditating and my form of prayer and I heard this inner voice say, what do you want? And it was very like, no, what do you actually want? None of this like, how are you going to survive shit anymore? And I was like, well, I need this many bedrooms, this many bathrooms. I want a garage. It needs to be in this town, this type, like all this stuff. Again, made zero sense. And then I just started following the intuitive nudges. You were mentioning intuition before, how you know when it's time to get out. It's also how you know the path to take to get back in when it's time. And it was miraculous the way the exact thing that I decided I would have for my kids just landed in my lap. Like, it made absolutely no sense. I didn't have, like, even rental, like income for renting. I was terrified that I wouldn't have enough, that nobody would rent to me. And this landlord was like, you're good. And he brought the lease and like, it was just amazing. So I think,
the universe is always working in your favor almost.
It always is, but you have to be willing to let go of all of the spins.
Mm-hmm. And letting go of the initial reaction we want to have of this is never going to work.
Which is a
no
spin.
Way. It is. It's very similar to that quote, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Yeah.
The decision to blow up your life in every way, shape, or form. And that's what happens usually when you get to this point of reclaiming yourself. You have to detonate the grenade because you have to start off with a clear foundation
Yes.
to rebuild.
Yes.
And there's a lot of turmoil in that. People are going to get hurt along the way, and not because you want to hurt them, but that is the unfortunate side effect of taking control of your own life, because you're no
Yes.
longer living to please everybody else.
Yes.
And as an inherent people pleaser, as a recovering people pleaser, I relapse all the time. You have to be okay with knowing that it gets worse before it gets better. It's like when you decide to purge your house for spring cleaning. Everything comes out of the closets.
Exactly what it is.
Everything comes out of the cabinets. Everything is everywhere. And it's so overwhelming. And how am I ever going to put the pieces back together? Well, you do it little by little and step by step. And in that process, you let go of the things that no longer serve you. I think one of the biggest realizations for me when I was going through my massive change was realizing how much like retail therapy played into my life when I was sad or depressed. I had 4 closets full of clothes, shoes, bags. And I was going from a 3,000 square foot house to a 900 square foot condo that did not have 4 closets.
Right. Right.
At first, I was so sad and upset about losing all of these things. But then the more that I actually like got rid of them, the lighter I felt.
Oh, yeah.
The less there was to take with me.
Yes.
The less there was to carry with me. And did I need 12 pocketbooks? No, I never even used 11 of them. I always used the same one anyway. So why do I have 12? There is this time that goes by where you start to realize that these things that you thought made you happy were really fillers, and they just filled empty spaces that you didn't know how to fill yourself. So it brings us back to that big question, though, of how to know when to let go. I know that you do a lot of work with intuition.
I do.
And that's really where you've built your coaching business.
It all lands there. No matter what people come to me for, it always lands there. Yeah.
Do you think that intuition is something that you feel in like your body, your heart? Is it disconnected from mind? Where do you think intuition plays its biggest role?
So I've been interviewing many women about their experiences with intuition, because we all have our unique relationships with our bodies. And everyone's sense of intuition is a little different. But in general, when intuition is a yes, it's an expansive feeling. You feel lighter. You feel more open. It's almost like whatever power, whatever we believe in, is calling to you with this intuitive nudge is like, okay, open up to receive now. Yes, this is what you want to be open to. And when it's a no, it's almost like a contraction, like a click, like a pulling in. Now, some people say that they will hear a voice, like not like they're hearing voices, but like something in their head that will say like, do this or do that. And I think of that as like a flash of insight. And it will come out of nowhere. It makes absolutely no sense. Most of the intuitive impulses we get make no sense. Most of the time, because our minds have created this story about what it should be, what it should look like, what the box is supposed to be. And yeah, go ahead.
Well, you just reminded me of a moment that I had back in December of this past December in 2023. And it's so funny. I forgot about this until this very second. So I have been doing the social media thing for a long time, sharing my story. And I was under 2,000 followers I've had Instagram now for how many decades? like 12 years. And I couldn't break 1,700 followers, like, to save my life.
Yeah.
And I was getting good feedback on my social, and people were really starting to enjoy the videos and I was sharing feedback that they liked it.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of work.
Yes.
It's a whole other job that gets anybody who people ask me, like, you must make so much money off social. Like, yeah, Facebook gave me 24 cents the other day, actually, for 1 million views. So thanks, Facebook. And I've struggled with my relationship with my higher power because I was brought up Catholic, so I don't understand who my higher power is anymore, but I know I have one.
Right. Yep.
And I got down on my knees and I was like, hey, God, nice to see you again. It's been a while. Please show me that I am on the right path, because I don't know that all of this work is worth it. I am putting myself out there constantly. I'm spending hours and hours collecting content and editing and writing captions and putting myself out there over and over again for 200 views and 5 likes. And what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Please show me. Is this a waste of time, or is there a purpose behind this? Just show me. And there was, I swear there was a voice. There was a voice. And that voice said, keep going, but keep being kind. Like, just keep going, keep being kind, and keep being yourself.
Yes.
I thought to myself, well, isn't that nice that I heard this voice? But, you know, I'm still doubtful. I'm doubting Thomas over here, right? I'm still a little doubtful. So I had a Christmas party to go to that night. And at that Christmas party, it was a work Christmas party with a bunch of other people in the industry. I would say minimum 10 people came up to me and said, are you Connie? Are you the real escator? Please don't stop doing what you're doing. I love your videos.
Oh my God.
And I was like, blown away. This is an hour before I'm on my hands and knees begging God to show me, is this the right path? Am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? Am I sharing the right message? And I have all of these strangers, some people I know, some people didn't know that they even knew who I was, saying, don't stop. Yeah. I love your message. Don't stop. Your story's great. And then maybe another month or two go by and all of a sudden I'm viral. And I have almost 40,000 followers. Like, what if I stopped? What if I had stopped? What if I hadn't listened to that intuition? And mind you, that intuition came with some external validation, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that the universe sent me that as a little kicker. But the voice that I first heard was, no, don't stop.
That's right.
And every time I've had that bit of self-doubt, every time I've had that moment of, am I doing the right thing? Am I on the right path? My phone rang this morning. Somebody randomly got my number off Facebook. I answer the phone, you know, and of course, once again, I always have a little like nervousness coming in to record, right? Because are people going to like, do people like what we say? They're going to like us? And the voice on the other end, it was a man. And he said, hey, I just want to tell you that I've been following you for a long time. And I just had to share with you that your story is changing my life. And I think I'm going to make some big changes that I've been too scared to make. I'm just like shooketh. Like, what? Okay. All because I listened to my intuition and I didn't stop.
Well, and you thought to ask. Mm-hmm. That not that we have to all the time directly ask. You know, we're talking about getting out of spins and how, you know, we like to stay in them. A really good pattern interrupt is to stop and ask for help. And it doesn't have to be from other people. Truly, the first asking for help is God, higher power, universe, whatever you want to call it, whatever that is for you, is to ask, to have the courage to ask. And then you will get an answer. It was like when I didn't know what to do about the living situation, and I heard so clear, what do you want?
I think the ask really is asking yourself.
Oh, yes.
Asking your higher power. Asking the universe, because if you go, I hate to say this, but don't ask other people.
No.
Unless they're living a life that you admire and aspire to be.
They need to be
to be someone that you want to be like.
Yes.
Because in the past 3 years, I have been told I was crazy for leaving my marriage. I was crazy for recording myself crying and putting it on the internet. I was told no one would ever buy a house from me again. No, I look too unstable. I look crazy. No one's going to trust you. Every time I went and asked somebody else what they thought about my decisions, their answer was, no, don't do that, because that's not their comfort level.
And let's not forget the people who will give you their opinions without you even asking.
Oh, yes.
I've had an ex-husband used to follow my work when I first started coaching and first started sharing, and would say, well, we can't be good co-parents if you continue with this. I never named him. We were not connected in any way. Like, there was no possible. But had I paid attention to that, I wouldn't have helped all the women I've been fortunate enough to help.
Right.
So you're 100% like nobody's opinions.
Nope, unless you aspire to be like them.
Right.
And that was the biggest indicator for me that my intuition was the only thing that needed to lead me. Was every time I asked an opinion of somebody else, because that's what I was so used to doing. I was so used to gathering everybody's opinion around me and then formulating a decision. And when I just started formulating my decisions based on my intuition, and things started to go my way, and things started to play out the way I wanted them to play out, or play out in ways that I never would have imagined them to play out. I would never have imagined sitting here recording a podcast.
I know.
And talking about my life. Like, that might have been in a wild dream of mine, but not in a realistic dream of mine, because my reality was formed by the opinions of others who didn't understand my vision. This has played such a huge part in my growth and my success, was understanding that, first off, there's nothing wrong if you're somebody who wants to live a simple life and your life is totally okay with being in, this is the box that I live in. I'm happily married and I've got babies and I've got a career I love and everything is perfect, but it's not crazy exciting, but it's perfect for me.
Yeah.
Well, that's beautiful.
Yes.
But there are those of us who have these huge, big ass, audacious goals and dreams that some people look at us like, wow, you're a fucking nutbag. Like, why would you want that for yourself? And they don't understand it. And because they don't understand it, they're never going to be able to help you achieve it.
Those of us who do have those big, audacious, hairy, scary, you're fucking nuts goals. Like, I know for me, it's always been, I feel like I'm being called. It's not even of me. It's not even like I'm deciding, like, in order to be loved or accepted, or I need to do these things. It's always been something I've had to come out of many fucking spins to keep doing this thing that I feel called to. Mm-hmm. Because it's so powerful, I'm being pulled to it, but all of the shoulds and fears and doubts and trauma and everything is all of the spins that I have to get out of along the way to follow it.
You want to hear a really funny story?
I would love to.
Okay. For those who know my mom, they're going to laugh when they hear this.
Okay.
If you don't know my mom, my impression is spot on, and I promise you this. My mom is old school Irish Catholic from Dorchester. And when I grew up, she would tell me every night, Connie, honey, when you were born, an angel came down from heaven and told me that you were special. And that angel told me you were going to change the world, Connie. You, Connie, are so special. And so I grew up with this complex, thinking I'm supposed to do something big. I'm supposed to do something great with my life, which is probably why I felt so uncomfortable when I was spending 10 hours a day on a couch, just like eating potato chips, watching Grey's Anatomy on my Tuesday off. Like, what is this? This is my great thing, huh? And so when I decided to reclaim my life and I made the steps and I'm going through my divorce and I'm rebuilding my life from scratch, I said to my mom one time, Mom, can you tell me more about the angel? Because I'm really lost and I'm trying to figure out my way. And she's a very religious person. Mm-hmm. So I said, I just need to know, like, what did the angel say again? Because I believe you. I believe you that this is my purpose. I just don't know where I belong. And she said, honey, it was like an angel came down. It was like an angel was there.
All those years.
My whole life is built on a lie. But because I believed it, because she said it with such conviction, and I truly believed that this was my path, I built this entire life around this belief that oh, I guess it was based off of a feeling versus an actual thing happening. But
it was her intuition.
it was her intuition. But it was so interesting to me. Like at first I was mortified that like, Mom, what? This isn't a real story.
This is everything falling apart. Are you kidding?
And then I was so grateful that she told me this story since I was a kid, because if I didn't have that insight into like, you've got a purpose, you have something, you're meant for something bigger, you're meant to be a big player in this world, I don't know that I would have believed in myself as much. And sometimes we have to like fake it till we make it, right? Like,
oh, yeah.
You don't just wake up one day and your life is like shining bright and everything is good and golden.
Ugh.
But while you're going through the depths of hell to get there, you have to have this delulu, right? Delulu is the Salulu, baby. You have to have the delulu to know that no matter how big that dream is, no matter how audacious that goal is, and no matter how many people tell you you're crazy for wanting that, it's impossible, if you believe it, you will achieve it.
And as you're making your exit out of hell, give the demons a little wink.
See you soon, baby. See you soon.
Love it.
I love it too. So thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode of Reclaim. No one is coming to save you. We hope that you like and subscribe, and we can't wait to see you again.
Love you guys.
Love
See you soon.